We got some pretty big news about Doomsday and Spider-Man 4 and the scripts for those projects. It seems like Spider-Man might be a huge part of the multiverse finale, and based on this recent news, it looks like they're still cobbling the story together. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about what's going on at Marvel Studio and why I'm a bit worried both of these scripts have, quote, not been cracked. Well, as many of you know, both Spider-Man 4 and Avengers Doomsday are set to go into production this year, but it seems like Marvel Studios might have a pretty big problem. Now, what we have going on here is an update for two of Marvel's biggest movies, Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man 4. And it seems like they are way behind schedule, but there might be a good reason why. Now, let's talk about Avengers and then we'll talk about Spider-Man. Now, as many of you know, Marvel had huge plans for Kang to be the big villain in Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. This was before all the Jonathan Majors drama, which caused Marvel to go back to the drawing board and pivot to Dr. Doom, who's going to be played by none other than Robert Downey Jr. Now, when they brought the Russos in, they made it really clear they're telling the whole story here, which to me indicated almost immediately everything was being thrown out, and they're going to start from scratch. Now, this seems to have been confirmed by Hollywood insider Daniel Rickman. Now, as we always say, this isn't from Kevin Feige or Marvel Studios, but Rickman's record is solid, and what he is reporting is that the script for Doomsday is not ready yet and will likely not be ready right up until April before they're supposed to step in front of cameras. Now, this is a lot of time to do writing, but I hate the idea that the film itself is being written as they're gathering everybody to go on set. This means a lot of stuff is going to cost a lot more money, some of it could be rushed, and this is not how great movies often come together. Now, apparently, the same thing goes for Spider-Man 4, which we learned recently is set to shoot shortly after Doomsday, which will also be over in the UK. What's interesting is the script for that not being done means most of the news we've been hearing over the last year is likely untrue, and according to this report, they still haven't cracked the story. Now, this should be setting off alarm bells for everybody within earshot, but I think there might actually be some really good reasons here, and ultimately, everybody at Marvel and Sony will probably get exactly what they want. Now, as we talked about the other day, Spider-Man 4 is being reported to be basically set as a direct sequel to Doomsday. Now, no one from Marvel Studios has said this, but we speculated on this channel that Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and Secret Wars will basically be a trilogy and will deal head on with the end of the multiverse saga. Now, it's pretty apparent to me that Doomsday is going to see Dr. Doom rise to power and more than likely concludes with him forming Battleworld. Now, we might get a taste of Battleworld in Doomsday, but as we've suggested, we're likely to inhabit Battleworld during Spider-Man 4. And at this point, if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if it's called Spider-Man 4 Battleworld. Now, this would allow Marvel Studios to have 8 to 9 hours to tell the conclusion of the multiverse tale. And seeing how most of it's kind of, well, not connected with fans so great, this might be a great plan. With all three movies coming out one after another, about 6 or 7 months apart, well, this gives Marvel some momentum leading into Secret Wars and allows them to create some stakes. It also allows them to give Sony pretty much exactly what they wanted, another multiverse tale, without it feeling kind of shoehorned into Marvel's slate. Many of us wanted to see a street-level adventure, and we could still see New York of the 616 as part of Battleworld, and we inhabit those streets, but it's very clear to me that Marvel is going to capitalize on the aspects of Battleworld to give Sony what they want, but tell a better story for their grand finale. I think basically Spider-Man 4 is going to be a tour of Battleworld, giving us the ins and outs, some of the variants that may or may not exist, and will allow them to introduce a couple of new characters, more than likely once again variants, to take on Dr. Doom in the Infinity Saga finale. Now, with both movies being written at the same time and working together, you could see how this would allow them to interconnect the movies in something that would feel organic. And if you literally have the writing teams working across the hall from each other, this makes that a lot easier. Now, Spider-Man 4 was pushed back a week to July 31st, 2026, and Doomsday is still set to release on May the 1st, 2026. So, like I said, scheduled short on these two films, and hopefully this script is a lot farther along than they're indicating, because they could be in trouble if it's not ready when they kick off production in April. We're going to follow this pretty closely. I'm doubling down at this point on these three movies being a trilogy for Marvel, and I do think they could possibly be three huge wins for Marvel Studios, and a great way to send off the Infinity Saga, which up until this point has not always been great. Well, the Russos might send it off with a huge bang. How that works out, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, before you take off though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the real, truthful superhero news, and we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are really in the know.